Can you change your attachment style, or are you stuck with it for life? Attachment is the way we connect with others. It's shaped in our early childhood and relates to how we connect with partners, friends, and even coworkers. If you've ever struggled with fear of abandonment, pushing partners away, or being too clingy or needy in relationships, having spikes of anxiety, or wanting to hide and disappear, attachment may be playing a bigger role than you think. Research shows that attachment patterns stabilize by the second year of life. But does that mean that these patterns are permanent? About 75% of people retain their early childhood attachment conditioning into adulthood. What about the other 25%? Well, what research shows there is that it's possible to shift your attachment with corrective attachment experiences. And in terms of consciously and specifically shifting your attachment patterns, 3 key elements are required. The first is sharpening your metacognitive ability. So this is the way you're able to mentalize, to think about yourself, think about others, to do it real time at a fast enough pace, in the moment, in relationship, or alone. So that's the first part. The second piece is about being able to securely function in relationships, to be able to have a back and forth, to collaborate. So for example, it's like playing a game or conversation or interaction where you're actually able to have a productive, successful interaction with other people in a way that's satisfying to both parties. So it's a win-win, it's mutually beneficial. And then the third and final piece has to do with more of the internal sense of yourself, and even the internal model everybody carries of the world, whether you know it or not. And this is where a therapeutic technique like the ideal parent figure protocol can really help rewire, remap the attachment system. Some of these chronic experiences, for example, a lot of people experience themselves as inadequate or have a kind of chronic anxiety or any other kind of difficulties you may have. That's where these specific therapeutic interventions actually address these kind of core beliefs, and they're not just stories or ideas. They can be, in some cases, or that can be an overlay. What we're really talking about is the felt sense, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world, about others. And one really great way to do this is using the ideal parent figure protocol. You can also, of course, if you're lucky, find a friend, a partner, or even a therapist who's really good, where you can have these corrective, secure relationships and interactions. So you begin to really build up your experiences that are positive, that feel right for both of you. And the reason I keep coming back to the ideal parent figure protocol is because unlike real experiences that are limited by time, energy, resources of all kinds, the ideal parent figure is not limited in these ways. It uses the imaginative capacity, and imagination is unlimited, and you can really come up with just the right kind of experiences, and your mind actually takes those in. So if you've ever played sports, there's a lot of research on the use of imagination in order to train, in order to get experiences. You can rehearse and generate through imageries, through the imaginal activity, actual experiences that the body feels, the mind registers, and actually creates memories from. And these can be shaped and reshaped in a way that's just right for you. So part of this is actually going back in time to imagining yourself as a young child and having corrective experiences, or the kind of experiences you wanted to as a child. And what happens over time is that you stack these up and you actually create a new and different positive sense of self, of the world, actually have the experience of secure caregiving that you may have not had in your actual childhood. And studies show that therapy focused on attachment repair can significantly increase the outcome of earning security over time. And this could range in how long it takes depending on how severe the attachment disturbance is. For example, somebody who has insecure dismissive attachment, it may be a relatively short amount of time that they can earn secure attachment in, as little as 6 months or 40, 50 sessions. And then on the very far end of disorganized attachment, it could take more like 150 sessions, so somewhere in the ballpark of 3 years. And that may sound like a really high number and a lot of work, but if you do have disorganized attachment, you know how intense, debilitating that experience can be, and that it just largely persists from childhood and into adulthood and late age. 3 years or 150 sessions is actually just a drop in the bucket. It's not that much time. And most people see positive changes in a short amount of time. So say some of this internal reorganizing, the external reorganization of relationships, partner, friends, coworkers, that can happen relatively quickly. Say 10 sessions, 15, or even 20. And in a study using the ideal parent figure protocol that focuses on attachment repair, and the goal of treatment is earned security, participants showed that not only do they have a decrease in symptoms like anxiety, depression, trauma-related symptoms like PTSD, where they no longer score or qualify for these diagnoses, they also show greater life satisfaction, more positive relationships, and improved emotional regulation capacity. And if you're wondering where to start, here are a few next steps you can try now. First is you can actually begin tracking your attachment activations, patterns where you feel really intense emotions or activations, or you actually feel really shut down, maybe empty, almost dissociated. Actually note that down. You can keep a journal, day-to-day journal, track those patterns. Another way you can do it is by trying the attachment repair meditations using the ideal parent figure protocol. And funny enough, sometimes people, the amount of difficulty you have with imagining ideal outcomes, so even your ability to imagine this, can often be indicative of what kind of caregiving you did receive. So naturally, if you had poor or really poor early caregiving experience, it may be quite difficult to imagine loving, safe, attuned caregivers. In a way, this can be used as an assessment, as a diagnostic. And then over time, because it is difficult, as you get better and better at doing that, the possibilities, the reality of experiencing secure relationships can become more and more possible. And the other thing you can do intentionally is to cultivate secure, emotionally regulating relationships. So just look through your life and see which of your friends, which of your close people actually make you feel better. So say throughout an interaction and after, do you feel better? Do you feel about the same? Do you feel worse? And you actually want to put more time and energy into the relationships that feel satisfying, that make you feel better, more settled. And you also want to track if the other person feels the same way about you. And these are the relationships you want to really invest in deeply. And then the last thing you may want to consider is working with an attachment repair specialist using the integrative attachment therapy, 3 pillars, ideal parent figure protocol method to really address the core deficits, building up the skills, and moving towards earning secure attachment intentionally. And the most important thing to remember here is your attachment patterns are not permanent. With the right tools, skills, relationships, you can earn security. Want to learn more? You can go to my website, mindfulattachmentcoaching.com, and check out upcoming classes, workshops, and also all the services we offer for attachment repair.